So good afternoon, I guess, everybody. We're going to start with this. Can everybody hear me now if I talk this loud?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Susan Centaur, and I work for the Career and Technical Education Office for the district. And we're here to do an orientation for all the students that will be going up to OCC or will be taking OCC classes beginning in a couple weeks here, 10 days or so. We're going to go through this information, and if people have questions, you can add to the chat feature on this call, and we'll try to answer the questions as we move through what we're presenting. Okay. At this point, if you can mute your computer or your phone, that would be helpful because sometimes it adds to the background noise. So the mute button is next to the video button. And we are recording this so that for anybody who is not available right now, we'll make sure to get this out to all the families so they can see it at a later date if they're not able to be here. Okay, so our goal at our district is to make sure that all the students who are going up to the college and who are taking college classes, this year it's unique in that there's a lot of kids taking online classes or remote classes, synchronous classes, but we want to support the kids as much or more than we have supported them in the past. And we have a lot of layers of support. If we were all in person, we'd be all introducing you to all these people that are on this call and that are available to help your students. So parents know that we are here to help your students, and students know that we are here to help you. So there's Flagan Prince and Mara Metzger. Both of those people work for OCC, but they work also as liaison with the Syracuse City School District, and their office is in Whitney 112, which is a building that a lot of the students will be taking classes in if they actually have to physically go there. And those are two tremendous people with a lot of answers, and they will be working with our kids all semester and next semester as well. We also have some people that the district is they work for us. They work in a part-time capacity. They will be available they have an office at Whitney 101 when they are on campus. But we have 4 different people. Mike Farrell, who works with the kids from ITC, PTech. Bob Perino works with the Smart Scholars from ITC. John Ciro works with the Henniger PTech students. And we are working on hiring the person that will support both the PSLA PTech students and some Corcoran students that are taking Urban Teacher Program students that are taking some classes at OCC. We also have the teachers and counselors at the high school. So all the teachers that are teaching you within those programs, whether it's a PTech or a CTE program or Smart Scholars, they're available to help you. There's also the counselors at the high school that are very knowledgeable and very willing to support the students. There are Liberty Partnership Program tutors available at ITC for ITC students. I know that we're trying to get them to be available also for PSLA and maybe Corcoran students as well. There are Upstate Medical University tutors for those kids that are taking the Henniger PTech program. All of these people are very knowledgeable, very willing to help students. All you have to do is ask, okay? OCC Learning Center, I'm sure that we'll hear a little more about that later, but just know that there's also a supporting place on campus for students if they need anything while they're at the campus. We want to let kids know that classes begin on August 31st. If you have a Blackboard account, which most kids do that are attached to their account, you're going to allow the students to go in early. Most of the kids have learned all this information that we're reviewing. They learned this during their boot camp that was happening this week, but we're going to review it for the benefit of the families. So the classes begin Monday, August 31st, and it depends if you have a Monday, Wednesday class, or if you have a Tuesday, Thursday class. The students all should have their schedules by now. The expectation is that all students will attend all classes. That's what it is in college. Very few college students miss class and are successful, so we want to make sure that kids understand that the expectation is that they will be there every day, or they will be online every day. They will be logged in every day, depending on what modality the students' classes are available to them. If the student is sick, you need to alert your college transition specialist, whoever that might be that's attached to the program that you're in, and your teacher. They may ask you for a note from your doctor. That depends. I don't know if it's a universal thing, but they just be aware that might happen. Students, this is a really important piece of the puzzle here. When the kids, our SCSD students, our Syracuse students are going up to the college, or they're going to be taking college classes, they have to understand that they need to follow the college calendar and the high school calendar. So you understand, families, that on August 31st, we're not starting our Syracuse City School District classes, but we are beginning the OCC classes. So kids have to be aware that you need to follow both calendars. If you need help with any of finding where that is, I'm sure they went over that in the boot camp this week, but it's really important. Students that are expected to attend the classes at OCC, even when the Syracuse City School District is not in session. For example, if we have a break in the spring and there is no break for OCC students, our Syracuse City School students that are taking a class at OCC will be expected to do that work and attend those classes during that time. Reversely, there'll be a week in September, or I'm sorry, and there'll be a week in March that they won't have college classes, but students will need to go to their high school. Okay, so it's just really important to make sure we're beginning, this is adult activity as you're taking these college classes, to be able to understand that you need to follow both of those calendars. It's a big task, but you guys are all up for it, I'm sure. Transportation will be provided, either a shuttle bus or central passes, and we're going to get a little more detail to that in a moment here. If you are a Syracuse City School student who needs, they will provide a shuttle bus from the high school for students that are enrolled in a class that requires on-campus attendance and you need transportation. So this year, for the first time, we have so many students that will be taking classes online or remotely. So some kids are only going to campus once a week, as in the past they might have gone multiple times a week. If the students are going once per week, we're going to make sure that they get a shuttle bus from their high school to the campus. But the transportation, I'm giving you my best guess at this point, but understand that we'll make sure that we get exactly the times and days that your student needs to be on campus. We will have buses available for them. Okay, so more to come. More detail will come on that as we progress. The district is still working through some transportation issues, but we will make sure that we're committed to providing transportation to students. Students can, if they have a license, they can drive. They will need a signed parent permission form. The district policy for the Syracuse district is that students cannot have passengers. You can't take their friends to and from high school to college, to the college campus. We can't do that. That's the district rule, not any of the teachers' rules, but that's just not permissible. Parents and guardians can drive and pick up students if they choose to. I know there will be more questions on transportation, but I promise you we will get you answers for that. When you're arriving back at the high school, again, this is dependent upon our schedule at the high school that is still not completely firmed up. But if you are a student who's coming back to the high school on a day that you're scheduled to be at school, this might be a Thursday or Friday if the students are juniors or seniors, they can go back. If it's a day they're supposed to be at the high school campus, you can go back to school and finish your high school day. Okay? If you arrive back to the high school on a day that you're not scheduled to be at school, for example, on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, the Wednesday for sure, kids won't be at school. Then you can go directly home after being dropped off at the high school or at the central hub. Okay, this is going to be confusing. Again, we're going to get more information to you when it's all very firm. But for the most part, there'll be days when 11th and 12th graders are supposed to be at their high school, and other days when they're not supposed to be. So it depends. If you're arriving back at school on a day that you're not supposed to be there, you go directly home. If you're supposed to be there, you can go into the high school and finish your day. OCC has very generously offered to us that if our students finish class on a day that they don't need to be back at the high school, they're allowing students to stay on campus to utilize the OCC resources that are available to all OCC students, because now those district students that are taking classes at OCC, they have full use of all those resources. So you're going to check with the college transition specialist to take advantage of those open locations. There might be days where you can use a computer lab. You can certainly use a library. You can use their internet, their Wi-Fi. It's a very nice opportunity for students to be able to use that. So we need to make sure that once kids get used to when they need to be on campus and when they don't, and when they need to be at the high schools and when they don't, we can probably maximize the use of that offer from OCC. Weather, students will follow this Syracuse District weather delays and or cancellations regarding attending on-campus classes. For students taking remote or virtual online classes, weather delays should not really impact your ability to continue your classwork. Because this year there are so many classes that are doing virtually, that I think that's not going to be as big of an impact when we have a snow day. Maybe snow days are all done. We'll have to see how it progresses. But if there was a snow day on a day when your students would normally be going to OCC, they will likely not go that day because the district can't transport students on a day when the weather is too inclement for students to be on a bus. Okay, student success. We talked about this a lot in the boot camp. I know that all of the kids were invited to that boot camp. I hope they took advantage of that. But this key to success is to be the best, most professional self you can be when on campus. Teachers understand that this is probably your first time to be on the college campus. You have to remember to be safe. You have to follow all the classroom guidelines as explained by your instructor and what's listed in your class syllabus. That class syllabus, which you learned during boot camp, is really going to be your Bible for your class. You're not going to use your cell phone during class because that's not professional. That's not what adults do. And that's going to be a significant issue if that happens. You're not going to be on campus very often, so hopefully that won't be an issue at all this year. If you have an emergency, you need to tell your instructor and you need to proceed to the college transition specialist. That's the district personnel or the OCC people that can help you. And you're going to make sure that everybody who has a Blackboard account, it's important that you check your grades on Blackboard regularly. I can tell you that those college transition specialists, they're like your fairy godmother. They're going to be helping you and supporting you, and they're going to be checking those grades. So our goal is to help support you, and it's a big lift to go from high school to college, and we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to be supportive of you. But that's one thing you can do for yourself, is to understand the syllabus. Attached to those syllabus are lots of deadlines for when classwork is due. When they say the deadlines are there, they're not kidding. That's when it's due. So the Blackboard, that online grade book, that will help you figure out where you stand, and you'll be able to see when things are due, and you'll need to make sure you have the use of that kind of down. Okay. Student behavior issues, we say this for the very, very unlikely event that this happens. Hopefully, this has been a very rare occasion. If you're asked to leave class because of a behavior issue, we ask that you just leave without a fuss. You're going to report to the college transition specialist. That's in Whitney 101, which is a big building to the right, or a big room in the right when you first walk in Whitney. Students gonna meet with the principal, the coordinator, and other teachers and counselors to discuss what happened. Parents will be called. We're going to be in communication with parents to fully understand what happened and what we can do to fix this. The OCC representative will communicate with the professor, your professor. If the behavior issue persists, hopefully if we have an issue, it gets resolved and we move forward. But if it persists, students will meet with the school administration and parents will be told that the students can be withdrawn from the class. If issues persist that causes a problem within the class, they will be withdrawn. The CTE director, the principal of the high school, coordinators and counselors will meet to discuss options for the students if he or she will be removed from the program. So you could be removed from your class. You could also be removed from the entire program. A parent meeting will be held to discuss the options for students. We don't need to revisit that because that's going to be very unlikely that any of this happens. People have questions? Did we answer questions as we went through? Ella, Flagan, Mara, do we have any questions on that board that we need to address?
So I would just mention that I know from the previous Zoom meetings with all our underclassmen and 11th graders, a lot of taking in a lot of information. So I would just want to tell all the students that be patient, be flexible, things are changing, and if you have a question about OCC transportation or whatever, we will get to it. It will be answered in due time. But just be flexible as we're all being flexible as things change.
Yeah. So there are no questions on the chat. I will say, at Henniger, students have no idea what their schedules are going to look like yet. None of that information has been shared yet.
So we're asking you guys to trust us that we're looking out for your best interest, and we will have information for you as soon as we can get it to you. If you saw that support, the list of support people, there are a lot of people that are going to help you get where you need to go. Take Mr. Cologne's advice in that we just need to all do this step by step. We will get everybody where they need to go. I promise it will all work out. And at the end of the year, you're going to be looking back saying, wow, I got all these college credits.
So I'm sorry, Sue, I don't mean to interrupt. What it would be nice is maybe we can load this on the Canvas college prep classroom for a little while so that kids have access to it so they can go back to it with their parents and review it. Alana, I think that's a great idea, just to be able to go back and look at the slides and review things.
And we also have, and we will make sure that when we send out schedules, we'll make sure to send out the frequently asked questions and the contact information for everybody, that if there should be no parents that don't know who to call. We just call any of us. We'll get you the answer to your questions. But it is important that you check your mail, you check your email, you check your snail mail, and you check your Blackboard. That's going to be really important. But we will put this on the boot camp through their Canvas class. We'll have put it up there hopefully tomorrow. And just know, parents and students, that we are with you, and we know this is a big transition. This is a big transition under the best circumstances. We're not really there. This is a kind of a crazy, crazy year, but we will still get through it. We have tremendous support people. You got the best people in the world helping you out. Okay, so I think we will be done with our piece.
Right. Now OCC has got some people that are going to share some things, so don't all disappear. Stay with us.
So we're going to transition over to the OCC orientation for the building, their campus.
Hi, how's everybody doing? My name is Flagan Prince. I am one of the coordinators here at Onondaga Community College. Also, you'll see we have Mara Metzger. She's also my co-partner in the office. We'll be your support while you're here. Right? Any questions or any concerns, just like Ms. Centaur said, Whitney room 112 is exactly where you'll come to get that information. Right? So I've got a couple of people. First, I want to start off with Officer Ryan Fortino. He's just going to talk about how things are going to be different this year. All right. There's some procedures that everyone's going to need to know. I just want to make parents and students be aware of it. Thank you, Mr. Fortino.
Just give me 1 second. I'm figuring this out. I think we got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Officer Brian Fortino. I'm one of the campus safety peace officers up here. So I've been asked to talk about how some procedures are going to be a little different. It's as everybody said, as Flagrant said, as Sue said, it's a lot different for everybody. It's a learning curve for all of us as we start the new school year next week. So some processes, new process for those driving on the campus, coming on the campus. We have a screening process that everybody's going to be required to go through. The process you're going to have to come through. There's a series of 4 questions that everybody in the vehicle will be asked. 1 second. Sorry about that. The 4 questions that everybody will be asked. Those questions, if you've been out of New York State, did I lose you? If you've been out of the state, they'll take your temperature and then they'll put a wristband on, sort of like I have right here, to let you know that you're okay to enter the campus. And they'll ask for your ID. If you have an OCC ID, they'll just scan it. If you don't have an OCC ID, they'll ask you for your name and your phone number. And then you'll be able to proceed on. Just remember, once you're on campus and in the buildings and in the classrooms, follow the social distancing guidelines as much as you can. Again, this is a learning process for all of us. Keep your masks on at all times in the buildings. Are there any other questions that I didn't hit on?
I have a quick question about masks.
Sure.
If students get all the way up there and have forgotten theirs, are there some available in the buildings when they get there or at the security checkpoints?
So our checkpoint, when you come through, if somebody doesn't have a mask, our checkpoint should always have one. And then as far as I know, there's supposed to be a designated area in each building where they'll be able to receive them.
Okay, great.
As far as that exact area, I'm not sure. I can get that information to Flagan to pass on in the future, though.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, I have a question.
Sure.
For the students that are going to be coming up for their labs on a bus, how will you be checking those in for that same type of procedure?
So the buses will move to the side in a separate lane, and one of our security guards at the checkpoint will more than likely enter the bus and screen each process through what they have is they have a wireless iPad, and that's how they do it. And each person will be given a band. They'll plug everybody's information into the wireless iPad, and away they go.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
So just everyone know as well, the PTech office will be giving each student in the program, you will receive 2 masks each. So we're going to make sure we're going to distribute that as soon as we get the shipment. But we're planning to give each student at least 2 masks to start with, okay?
Flagan, we had a question in the chat about whether homemade masks are okay. Yes, the masks that the governor is asking you to wear include the homemade ones, cloth ones, the blue medical ones, but your nose and mouth need to be covered, just like Governor Cuomo says.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, Officer Fortino. I will be seeing you in a few.
Sounds good. Take care.
You too. I would like to move on. There's some great information that we have also coming on right now. For anyone that is looking to get that extra support and extra help, I want to bring on Kathy Dupree just to talk about how the Learning Center would actually work.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kathy Dupree. I'm Associate Vice President for Academic Support on campus. And we offer a lot of different services for academic support. So the tutoring that we're offering, if you're familiar with how it's been in the past, is different, as everything else is because of COVID. We will have some very limited in-person tutoring while we are on campus, either around the campus or in our learning center itself, de-densified, very limited 6 feet distance, everyone wearing masks. We're sanitizing constantly in the learning center, all of our equipment, it's all there. But most of our tutoring is actually going to be taking place online. And we are going to be using Teams as well as WC Online, which is our own tutoring software system. We have tutoring for writing of all kinds. It doesn't just have to be an English class. It can be writing a biology lab or a math assignment, or whenever there's writing, our folks can help you with that. We also have study skills tutoring, so we can help you figure out how to study, how to be the best college student that you can be. We're having workshops, we have tutoring, and then we have our content tutoring, which is helping everyone understand the content of your courses. And again, a lot of that will be online, individual, live, just like we're having right now, our live conversations, both individually and in groups. And all students are going to be given instructions on how to log into that system, how to make appointments. We have PowerPoints and videos and all sorts of ways to help you learn how to do that process. And we're going to be talking with all the students individually as well. We also have instructions on the website, and this is free to any student that's taking an OCC class. So that's even for classes that you might be taking in the high school, in the CCN program, where you take OCC classes in the high school, you can still get the support. We just have you get help for the course that you're taking now, not one that you might think you might need help in next year. So that once you start your classes and you figure out what it is that you need help in, don't just say, I can't do this class, and just say, I need help in everything. Because you don't. You know some of it, and we just need you to give some thought ahead of time, prepare, try the assignment, read the passage, give a stab at doing some work so that we know where to start from. But we start tutoring in the first week of classes. We have some tutoring, and then we really ramp up. Everything's ready to go. You'll be able to check out our schedule very soon. We'll be getting information out to all registered students. And so we are open 7 days a week. We're open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. We have laptops that you can borrow. You can also come in and just use our space to use Wi-Fi if you're between classes. There's not quite time to hop on the bus yet. So definitely use our services, but everyone will be assigned a space in the Learning Center. If you do come in, you need to sign in, sign out, wear your mask, wash your hands. We have hand sanitizer around. We're cleaning constantly. So just to keep all of that in mind as we are working to help you be the best students that you can be. So I don't know if there's any questions. I was having technical difficulties myself, so I am on my phone trying to hold it steady right now because it's the only way I can get into your meeting. So I can't see the chat right now. So any questions from anyone?
Kathy, a question came in the chat that asks, do you need to make an appointment for tutoring?
You do not need to make an appointment. You can do walk-in, both for online, the live tutoring, as well as in the center. However, we highly recommend making an appointment. The students can make the appointments themselves, and they can change them themselves. So if you know you're not going to be able to make it, or you just don't need it anymore, go ahead and cancel it, change that appointment so that someone else can take advantage of that time. You can always also call our center and we're happy to walk you through it or to make the appointment for you. Any other questions?
No?
All righty. So any questions that you folks might have, you can ask Mara, Flagan, me, call the center, send us an email, check out the website. We've got information all over the place on how we can help all of you be the best students that you can be.
Thank you so much, Kathleen.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's some great important information. Especially I wanted to stress, students, please do not wait until a week left in the semester. Don't wait the night before of a 5-page paper. Get in contact and get that necessary help needed. Try to be as organized and prioritized as possible. That actually is going to lead me right into my next speaker. That's actually going to talk about what makes a successful college student. I just want to introduce Ms. Erin Vaccaro. She's actually our director of the concurrent enrollment program here at the college.
Thank you, Flagan. All right, evening everyone. It's so good to be here. Thank you for the invite. And I'm pretty sure that everyone who's spoken so far has given me some fantastic lead-ins to talk a little bit about what makes a successful college student. And I encourage you, as I'm talking about these different pieces, to ask questions in the chat or wait till the end, and I'm happy to answer questions, whether it pertains to what I'm saying or does not. Totally fine either way. I'm going to take a second to share my screen, so give me just a minute, and we'll see if it works. Okay. So we're talking tonight about what makes a successful college student. It's important to note that success just simply does not look the same for everyone. Success in college comes in all different forms. You could be an A+ student or an A student. You could be a student that consistently gets B or C grades, but everyone has this end goal of being successful in their courses, achieving graduation, getting into the career that they're looking for. So some students are going to do this by consistently earning grades, and others, or A's in their classes, and others simply won't. Every single one of you, regardless of your academic ability, is capable, just as capable of graduating as your classmates are. But here's the thing, success as a college student actually doesn't come solely from academic ability. And truly, when you think about it, it actually doesn't even come mostly from academic ability. There's been so much research that's been done into college success and what it takes to be successful in college that shows that having difficulty or failing a course usually doesn't have anything to do with intellect. So if you have any trouble in courses, a lot of times it doesn't have to do with you not being smart enough to do it. And success in college doesn't directly correlate with you being some super smart person. So there's so many other factors to look at, and I think that that's important to note. So now you might be wondering exactly what that means. I think it's important to look at success, and this iceberg illusion on the screen kind of gives you a visual idea of what I mean by that. Success, you might see a friend of yours earning consistent A's. That is what you see on the outside. You see success however you're defining that. Again, does not need to be defined by a grade, but however you personally define success. Underneath it though, there's so much happening. You're not seeing all the time the persistence. You're not seeing how students are failing at things and then getting back up, doing it again, sacrificing some of those hangout times with their friends that they actually wanted to have and they're not able to, going through disappointments, some challenging grades, hard work. I mean, that just comes with the territory, but being dedicated. All of these different things we don't always see on the surface when we see someone who's successful in something, but they're so important to remember that these are like recipes for being successful. So I want to go through a couple different points on, I think some of the most important pieces, what you can do, because we can talk all day about success, we can talk about what it takes to be successful, but there's some actual specific things that you're able to really put into play that increase your chances of success substantially. First one is understanding your why. So really taking some time as a student to understand what motivates you. This is going to be different for everyone, so you have to personally be thinking through this. You are going to encounter challenges. College is not easy. College and high school can be even harder because you're balancing two different types of academic areas. There's going to be hard days. So you want to ask yourself now, who is my support system? When I have those super hard, bad days, who am I going to talk to? Who is there for me to tell me that I can do this, that I'm here and I can push through and I can get through these challenging times. And it doesn't have to always be a friend or a family member. You have so much support in your high school and up at OCC as well. But you personally thinking and asking yourself these questions, who is there to support me? What am I going to do when I have a bad day? Is giving up the answer? No. So what can I do? How can I get through this day and have a better day the next day? What's motivating me to take these classes as a high school student? If you can dig down into what your motivation is and kind of bring that back up each time you have those tough and challenging days, you are going to find that those tough and challenging days aren't as hard because you have some internal underlying reason for being here. And that's up to you to kind of think through, and hopefully you'll take a little time to do that. Another piece is advocating for yourself. This is so incredibly important. Making sure that you are talking to your professors, making sure that you're using your resources. Your professors will post syllabi, which you've learned what that means. They're going to post tracking calendars. They're going to give you deadlines and due dates. They are going to probably record lessons at this point, and you know the how we're facing our academics at this time right now. We're going to have a lot more pieces that we can go back to, lectures that we can go review. So take a look at those. Make sure that you are spending time reviewing things. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to do this. I have a 10th grade, a daughter going into 10th grade, and she looks at me like I have 5 heads every time I tell her to go ask her teachers a question if she has one. But it's so essential, and I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to say it over and over again. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to go ask the question. Your teachers want you to ask questions. Make sure you're getting the help that you need. You just heard from Kathleen Dupree from the Learning Center. We have so many supports on campus. You have so much support in high school. None of us can help you if we don't know what the challenges are that you're having. So you have to advocate for yourself. You have to get that help. And you do that by asking a question. And you have this added, you're lucky, I guess I should say, that you have all of these people. You can ask any single one of us. Any of us can either answer your question or find the answer to your question. Managing your time. You probably hear this constantly from teachers, parents, everyone, I'm sure. Managing your time, though, this is the sign of a successful person, not just in school, but in life. So start now. Use a planner. You have access to phones, computers, calendars. Use these to manage your time and plan out these essential things that you need to get done. We also, I think if I had you guys in front of me and was able to ask you to shout out some of your goals that you had, a lot of you would probably have a goal of completing a class successfully up at OCC. But that's 15 weeks. That's 15 long weeks. And there's a lot that goes on during that time period. So I encourage you to set some smaller goals. Getting through a test successfully or completing a paper successfully. Those are important. Using your syllabus. Oh, sorry. Is this working? Okay. Using your syllabus or your tracking calendar. Being proactive. Making sure that you are paying attention to your due dates. I think that that's incredibly important. The other piece that might be obvious, but is really very essential is going to class. And I'm saying that with air quotes right now because that means something different for all of you depending on your schedule. Going to class might mean remoting into your class. It might mean actually attending your class. It might mean that you have to pay attention to what day of the week it is to know which class you're going to that day and which class you're logging into. But regardless of any of that, going to class is absolutely essential. And then the last piece under managing your time is something that you've already heard a little bit about tonight, but studying, learning how to study, how do you study best, planning that into your routine and making that a habit. So really honing in on those study skills. And you can even go to the Learning Center just to learn how to study, which I think is pretty cool. Understanding OCC technology. This is something that Sue has already gone over, and I think it's worth another conversation about because your OCC technology is the way your teachers will be having any type of conversation with you. So checking your OCC email consistently, hook it up to your phone if you're able to, have it link straight to your phone so that you're getting notifications. This is where you're going to receive all of your essential contact from OCC. You will find that at times you'll get a couple emails to your personal email, but you cannot rely on that will happen from your instructors. OCC email is exactly where they go. It's something that is used to communicate school closures, any class cancellations. If you have a high flex class schedule, that's how you'll actually figure out when am I going and how is my professor kind of breaking the class apart. Blackboard has also been talked about, and it sounds like each one of you have had the opportunity to be a part of a Blackboard orientation. So hopefully you've now logged in and have a good understanding of how to use Blackboard. This is our learning management system, and the majority of OCC professors do use Blackboard. Not every single one, but we do push all of them to use it for important documents, uploading assignments, to grade their students so you have a consistent understanding of how you're doing in the class and to receive any feedback from your teachers as well. Last but not least, it is so important to be active in your education. You guys you have this opportunity to be in this awesome program. You've been in it for a couple of years already. You have supports. You have this 360 support. You have support from your high school and support from OCC with multiple people who their sole jobs are to be invested in helping you be successful. So take that as a motivator. Don't be passive in your education, be active. Employers want to see that as well. All of these skills that you're working on right now to be a successful student are essential in the workplace as well. You have to remember that you have full control over the level of success that you're going to achieve. So this is not a time to blame others for not understanding something or not receiving communication on something. You have control. You need to take the control and you need to do something with it so that you do achieve that level of success that you're looking for. So that is my presentation. I'm more than happy to take questions if you have them. I have to figure out how to unshare my screen because I don't know how to do that. Maybe I am. Am I sharing my screen still?
Yes.
Thanks, Blagan. Okay. Well, I'm sure I'll figure out how to unshare at some point, but are there any questions that I can answer?
So I asked them to share their goals, and I had one to just get through the day. So, but we can do that using all of the tips I think that you shared.
Yeah. And you know
really
what?
Being mindful, and I know that Mrs. Danu did a whole big thing on mindfulness and just being, you've got to, and planful. Thoughtful about how you get through one day to the next, and some very good ideas have been shared today about that already. But nobody else posted their goals, short or long term, so I have nothing else to report.
Nope, that's okay. I actually think get through my day is a goal that I hear a lot from students, and I think it's really important to understand that that's actually an incredibly reasonable and super important goal. And I love that it's a short-term goal, because every single day you have the opportunity at the end of the day to say, I did it. I got through my goal. If your goals, every single one of your goals ends up being a 15-week course, I just want to get through this course successfully, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs in that time period. So those short-term goals to get through your day and do everything you can to do that and meet that short-term goal, I think is awesome.
So just taking some of the stuff that you're getting this week and thinking about, how can I use this? How can I use this to help me plan and be successful?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Erin. That was awesome. Yes, and just definitely to piggyback off, this is going to be a change. You guys are in a very successful program, and there's other districts in New York State that don't have the opportunity you have to be in this program. To be frank, you guys are saving a ton of money by earning a lot of college credits and getting the opportunity to do something a lot of students wish they could. So these are one of those opportunities in life that you need to take advantage of it. Don't let this slip up, because I'm pretty sure parents out there know this. Any parents that's on the call know. But if they had the opportunity to take some about 60-something credits and pay absolutely zero for, they would jump at that opportunity to take that. Thank you, Erin. Again, my next presentation is coming from the Office of Accessibility Resources. I have the Assistant Director, Jay Harrison. He's going to talk about what the Office of Accessibility Resources can provide students.
All right, thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I would say afternoon, but it's kind of late, and hopefully you're in front of me watching me eating popcorn, dinner. I'm going to eat mine when this is done, so I'm not going to be too long for you guys, so you can enjoy your evening. But again, I work in the Office of Accessibility Resources. Our role is to make sure that students with disabilities receive educational and disability-related services. Some of the services could include getting an extension on tests, time extension. It can also include taking an exam in a distraction-free area. We also provide students with note takers, and we also provide students with computers that have spell check and grammar check on devices like that. So if you have a 504 plan or IEP, you may be familiar with some of the services I just mentioned. A lot of those services do transfer over to college. Unfortunately, there are some services that colleges do not provide as an accommodation. For example, if we receive resource as an accommodation, the college does not provide that. But as Kathy mentioned earlier with the Learning Center, some students have used that in place of a resource center. So rather than going to Resource Center and getting on one-on-one, they would get it through the Learning Center. Another thing is one-on-one assistant in the classroom. We do not provide aid for students, but we encourage students before they come to OCC who may need an aid to look into getting an aid. There are agencies out there that I can share that information with anyone that has questions about how to get an aid. And typically we try to encourage families that are looking to get an aid and mentor to do that probably a couple of months before they start college. Because you'll find that getting an aid can be a very long and frustrating process, and it's not something you should wait till a week before classes start. Speaking, not waiting for a week before classes start, if you are a student with a disability and have a 504 or an IEP, it's important that you get us those documents as soon as possible. What do I mean as soon as possible? That means that the day you decide that you're coming to OCC, you can hand in those documents as soon as you can. Once you receive those documents, what we do is we set you up with one of our specialists who will do an intake with you. In the intake process, we're going to tell you asking you a couple of questions, as well as going over different type of accommodations, like I mentioned earlier, and all the supports that our office can provide you. So it's important that if you have a 504 plan, you submit those before you start classes. And if you have an IEP, you would need an IEP and a psyche eval. So that way we can do the intake and get you ready for classes. Now this semester, I know it's challenging because normally students will go to the testing center to take occupational exams. This year we kind of waived that. But if for whatever reason that does come back, we also encourage you to submit those documents before you take a placement exam, so that way you can be accommodated for the placement exams as well. Now, I know I threw a lot at you. I just want to be conscious of people's time, but if there's any questions, I can answer those questions right now if you have them.
Does anyone have any questions?
There are no questions in the chat.
None in the chat.
Well, enjoy your dinner, and hopefully I get to enjoy mine soon.
I just want to make a mention that for the Syracuse City School District students, most of them should already have, if they have an IEP or a 504, most of that information has already been submitted to the center. So do students need to make an appointment, or they make a phone call, or what do they do next if you guys already have their IEP or their 504?
That's a great question. So typically we would reach out to the students to set up an intake appointment, but I encourage students that after you submit your documents, if you don't hear back from our office within a couple of days, call and inquire. Sometimes we can, receive a lot of a lot of documentations and be scheduling students appointments. But once you're giving attention to the fact that you submitted your documents, we can try to set up an intake as soon as you call and inquire. So I would encourage all students, once you submit your documents, wait a day or two and then call our office to make sure that we have the documents, and so we can also set up an intake with you.
Okay, so I think that means for any students that have an IEP or 504, if you have not already been contacted, you can probably call up there, because I think all of the documentation has been sent.
Okay. So I would encourage the students, I would encourage all the students just to follow up with us tomorrow even.
Thank
and
you.
we'll try to get them in as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're right, Sue. I do know that Scott Lane and some other guidance counselors worked with Laura Doyle just to have that information sent. So I don't know if she's contacted him directly back, but I know some has already got sent over, and I know Laura was taking care of it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I'll see you in a few.
All right.
All right. All right. As of now, that is all the people I had scheduled, but I do want to open this up for any general conversation or questions. I would love if we get some young people to ask some questions. Any parents that have anything that's in their mind that they want to share, this will be a good opportunity. You telling me I did that great of a job?
I think a lot of them have started to sign off.
Okay. So no problem. If anyone needs any questions, like we said, there is no dumb questions at all. You have a ton of support around you, wrapped around you. Make sure you contact your high school, and also if you want, definitely contact us. They have our information, and we could provide that to them too, so they can share out. They already have our information, so they can share out with the general public and everyone else if you do have anything. We have a couple more weeks. Looking forward to see some of you guys on campus, and probably some of you more on this same chat live. Everybody, you guys can take care. Sue and all of the school staff, I will be opening up the other side at 6:15. You could jump on it, actually. I'm going to open up early. So we could jump on that other side when you guys are ready, okay?
Okay, thank you.